The San Jose Sharks are one of the 4 teams in the NHL not playing today. I believe the others are New York Rangers, Winnipeg, and Anaheim, which makes the 3 p.m. time slot for today's video a little bit difficult to plan out. Which is why I'm very grateful that we have ourselves this article that published itself out on San Jose Hockey Now, going over the Sharks and what the apparent trade price has been revealed to be regarding arguably the best defenseman in the NHL today, a guy who definitely was that a few years ago, but who has since reclaimed himself up to form. Let's talk today about Erik Karlsson. Because, according to Bob Stauffer on the Edmonton Oilers beat, we had ourselves the trade report as to what apparently the Sharks are asking teams in exchange for Erik Karlsson. Now, before we go over into that, I wanted to just briefly go over the profile so you understand where the Sharks are coming from and why the price is the way it apparently is. Karlsson is 32 years old. Pretty standard size guy, 6 feet 190, right-handed player signed till the end of 2027, making $11.5 million a year. He is one of the most expensive players in the National Hockey League today, but he has really reclaimed his old form of being a superstar caliber defender, as this season the guy has 56 points in 44 games played, on pace for 104 points. We haven't seen a defenseman in the NHL get 100 points in a season since Brian Leetch back in the gosh darn 90s, and Erik Karlsson, at 32 years old, is on pace to do that again. Not again. Yeah, okay, again, since Brian Leetch, there you go. He's never done that 100-point thing before, just so you know. His prime season saw him put up 80-something points per year as a member of the Ottawa Senators. But when it comes to Erik Karlsson and his play this year, we all kind of know that he's been in the spotlight for very good reasons. He has been phenomenal, despite the fact that he plays on San Jose. Karlsson has been up and away one of the best players, period, this season alone. And so, when you take a look at what Bob Stauffer talks about on Oilers Now the other day, it might, at face value, just at the very beginning, make a little bit of sense as to why this price is the way it is, but then you start to think about it a little bit more, and then you're like, wait a minute, that's really gosh darn high. Let's take a look at this article on San Jose Hockey Now. I'm not going to show you the title just yet, but in the piece written by Sean Pang, the Bob Stauffer quote from Oilers Now is quoted and typed out here. I'm hearing the Sharks want 3 first-round picks for Erik Karlsson, Edmonton Oilers color commentator Bob Stauffer said on Oilers Now, and they'll retain 18%. Stauffer followed this up by telling Ted Ramsey on the build-up today, I had heard that the Sharks in a perfect world would want 3 first-round picks and didn't want to retain too much money. Even in a not-so-perfect world, Stauffer is bullish on the Sharks getting significant value for Karlsson. The minimum they're going to get is at least a first-round pick. They'll probably get a second first. The more they eat, the more they get in terms of retaining salary. And spoiler alert, that's what the title of this article on San Jose Hockey Now is called, Speculation. The Sharks want 3 first-rounders for Karlsson? Now, I'm going to go out there and say first and foremost that San Jose rumors being spewed out by an insider of a different team, interesting. Very interesting how Bob Stauffer, the guy who primarily covers Oiler material, is bringing out the news here, what the Sharks apparently want for Erik. But before we proceed, I want you to just think about that a little bit. Erik Karlsson is 32 years old, making $11.5 million a year, and this contract goes on until the end of the decade, pretty much. He expires in 2027. Okay, no, that's not that far ahead. I mean, that's 4 years into the future, but still, he's going to be 36 years old. He's going to be making so much money against the cap, and he's having a really good season, yes, but is a team going to shell out 3 first-round picks for a guy that's making 11.5 against that salary cap? Do the math right here, 11.5. Let's do, what is that? 82% of 11.5. Here you go. Let's type that out here. That's 9.43. So if Bob Stauffer's analysis is correct and the Sharks will retain 18% on the dot, then the team acquiring Erik is going to have a $9.4 million AAV defenseman until the end of 2027 on their books, who is going to be 36 years old and who very well is arguably the best defenseman in the NHL right now, period, but who has such a big price tag attached to it. 3 firsts, eh? Okay, let's go over back to the article and read what Sean Peng has to say talking about this trade return. 3 first-rounders seems wild, and checking around, none of my sources have heard this. That doesn't seem like a serious request if you really want to trade Karlsson. Even getting a single first-rounder seems questionable unless the Sharks retain a lot more than 18%, all things considered. The rest of the article goes over Karlsson and his play and everything, but at the end of the day, this is an expensive asset who is old. And that's not a good combination for getting anything of significant value in return in the first place. Peng is saying that it would be really lucky for the Sharks to get a first in general because he is so gosh darn expensive, because he is so old, and because he's not really all too certain to being as good as he is right now for the rest of the time the contract goes until he's 36. Yes, Karlsson is enjoying a career season leading all defensemen in NHL points, but he is also 32 and coming off 4 consecutive disappointing or injury-shortened campaigns. He is the highest-paid defenseman in the league, and he has a no-movement clause and 4 years left in his deal after this season. If the Sharks retain 18%, the 2-time Norris finalist would only lower his AAV to 9.43. Karlsson is a big gamble, and that's putting it mildly for any franchise. Also keeping in mind that the salary cap might only rise by $1 million next year, up to 83.5. There's no doubt how great Karlsson is right now, but I think league-wide there are a lot of question marks about how great he'll be in the coming years. And that's sort of the thing, isn't it? Like, if you're playing EA Sports NHL Season Mode, and you're doing this as a one-year thing, okay, screw the future, screw the prospects, screw the picks, get Karlsson today, because he's playing like one of the best players in the league. But this is not Season Mode, this is Franchise Mode. This is not even Franchise Mode, this is real life. This is sacrificing significant cap and significant draft capital for a guy who is definitely on the tail end of his career. Like, Karlsson is definitely not going to be a 100-point caliber defenseman for the ever so long amount of time this contract is going to extend for. Sure, he'll probably be a good enough player, but not as good as he is right now. The player that he is right now, and only right now, is probably worth a huge haul. Maybe even multiple firsts. He is that gosh darn good. A 100-point defenseman? Sign me up. But the context of it all takes it away. He is old, he is expensive, he is frequently injured, and now he is having a really good year. The Sharks don't necessarily even need to trade Erik Karlsson, but you know in their heart of hearts they probably do. And so when it comes to this idea here, let me know in the comments all your thoughts about Karlsson potentially being traded for 3 firsts with 18% salary retained. Why is the number 18? Why not 50? Why not like 25? What in the world makes 18 the number over there? Also, 3 firsts? You can let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on that trade price, because that, my friend, is absolutely huge. Sean Peng goes out there and says the contrary. The link will be in the description if you want to go ahead and read what else he has to say about the situation. It's on San Jose Hockey Now, so you know it's done by a San Jose covering beat reporter rather than somebody that mostly does Edmonton Oilers stuff, which still kind of blows my mind when that was the source that this entire thing came from. But either way, thoughts in the comment section below. Is Erik Karlsson worth 3 firsts? Maybe he was worth 3 firsts a few years ago, but is he worth 3 firsts now? You can let me know your thoughts and what you think about this situation. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 9, and bye.